this topic is something we haven't done yet, but I want to do like every so often. It's just pulling out some different characters to pit against each other.
Never did.
Yeah, that never did. Allegedly. Allegedly. So we're doing Darth Vader versus Darth Maul. And so for you comic fans or Legends hardcore fans, you know that they did face off in the Legends comics way back when.
So don't spoil it. Just kidding.
So we are aware that that is a thing, but since it's not canon, it didn't actually happen in canon. So we're going to talk through it anyways, but then I'll show some of the comic images and show how that played out in Legends and how I disagree with how that happened. But so let's try to decide, are we going to do like each character at their peak?
Yeah,
power?
I think you have to do it that way.
So what do you think is Vader's peak?
Like he has a suit?
Yeah.
That Vader?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, he was Vader without the suit for like a day.
Yeah. Well,
that might be his peak.
I would say that is his peak.
I would agree, but yeah, let's go with post dismemberment Vader.
PD.
One PD.
I would say his peak in the suit would probably be around the time that Obi-Wan was aired, like that time period.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. Because you gotta imagine, like, right after he gets the suit, he has to spend a little bit of time getting used to it.
Absolutely.
And like learning how to fight with it. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think if you get into how he is in the original trilogy, he's a little bit older, less mobile, kind of like rigid with his like movements, even while fighting.
He probably hasn't even like fought
in a while.
Well, yeah. You could say that.
I mean, besides Luke, but like Luke's...
Well, no, I was just saying, like, other than Luke. He probably actually did fight a lot of people.
Like Jedi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was right before that where he is finishing up his extermination journeys.
Yes.
Exterminator Vader.
Exterminator.
Exterminator.
But like in 5 and 6, like...
Yeah,
I don't think
he looks like an old man fighting.
Yeah,
while
and
fighting.
He's more...
I mean, back then he was supposed to be
Yeah.
much older than he actually is.
Yeah. He's...
Same with Obi-Wan.
His role in those movies is not Sith Lord. Like, he is project manager. Like,
Of what?
The Empire. Like, he's not fighting people.
That's true.
He's not in the field.
Yeah, like he's got a lot of people doing things for him at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that was the point of the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I'm thinking of like Jedi Survivor when he like that's after the Inquisitors were killed off. And so then
Yeah, I'd say that's his prime right there.
Yeah.
When he fights Seer.
Yeah. That fight scene, he looks like prime if we're talking combat, like prime combat Vader.
Yeah.
It's good.
Which is around the time of the Obi-Wan show anyway.
Yeah,
so
say, like, that's
so we'll just say like is that 5 years after Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
So he's got like 5 years of like getting used to the suit. And just getting used to using the dark side too, I think, is a big part of it. And like he probably had some I mean, we've seen in the comics that he's had like training with Palpatine.
Do you use the dark side, or does the dark side use you?
Ooh, that's a good point. That is literally. Well, no, I think it's the opposite. If you're a Jedi, the Force uses you, but if you're a Sith or a dark side user, you use the Force. And it goes back to the Old Republic when the Sith would say,
Yeah.
"May the Force serve you well,"
Yes.
rather than "May the Force be with you."
Yeah.
The Sith would always say that. Like Lana says that all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I love that difference. So, I mean, that's a good thing that we could go on a whole topic of that probably.
Yeah. So peak Maul.
Yeah. Would it be Phantom Menace before he gets cut in half, or would his cybernetics
Ooh.
make him more powerful?
I'd say Clone Wars Maul
I
is
think
for
so,
sure
too.
peak. Just because
He's learned more now.
yeah, in the Phantom Menace, he hadn't, like, he's fought people, but, like, he revealed the Sith that way in that movie. You know, like, he wasn't, like, fighting Jedi all the time.
Right.
Maybe once in a great while, but, like, secretly. He had to kill them. So,
Yeah.
I'd say Clone Wars Maul is his peak combat era.
So, like, when he fights Ahsoka in
Yeah.
the Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah.
One of the best duels. Yeah. Okay. So,
And that's the spinoff I want. I want a series.
Ooh.
Like a Maul origin.
hmm.
A young Maul?
Yeah. There's a great book. A couple great books of that. I think I have one of them.
Honestly, I wish that was the Acolyte show.
Was more him.
was
being
him.
the acolyte.
Yeah.
But he was apprentice already.
Well, like, back, baby Maul.
Baby Maul. I mean, we kind of saw.
Can you imagine giving birth
Mm.
to the spikes?
Yeah, our Zabrak born
Surely not.
with the spikes on their heads.
Also assuming they give birth normally. I don't know.
They hatch from eggs.
What else has spikes that, like, probably grow as they grow? Deer?
Yeah.
Deer, yeah.
Baby deer aren't born.
Yeah,
Actually,
so we'll
most
just-
most animals are not born with horns.
No. I
They
don't
get
think
those like
I
through
don't think any are.
like their puberty stages of the animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. For that
Are
reason.
they born with that?
Unless they're hatched from eggs. Like, I'm thinking reptiles that have spikes, which
Yeah.
would be like a dinosaur. I'm trying to think of what real reptile
There's a few like lizards,
that have spikes.
like chameleon.
Do they have spikes?
Some chameleons have horns,
Yeah.
or like the great horned toad.
Horny toad.
Yeah.
Great horned toad.
Isn't that what it's called?
I don't
Yes,
know.
it is.
Or am I thinking of great horned owl?
That
No,
too.
that's a thing too. Yeah, there's a I don't think it's great horny toad, but
It's probably just horny toad.
I think it's just horny toad.
Anyways,
We got that.
Okay, so Clone Wars Maul versus Vader 5 years after.
Okay. So Maul's whole thing is like he's just so full of rage that like he's scary. Yeah, like he's scary to fight.
and okay, here is my theory on like just the combat part of it. I think Maul is a equal or maybe slightly better swordsman
Mm-hmm.
and like just like acrobatics and like
Yeah.
fighting than Anakin ever was. Although Anakin was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was like Maul's thing. Was
Yes.
like he was
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think he might have just a little bit of the upper hand of just like the actual like dueling part of it.
Yeah.
However,
Plus the double bladed helps with that.
yeah. However, I think Vader shuts this down pretty quickly with the use of the Force.
Yeah. I agree.
Which is kind of an unfair fight because Vader is just so OP in that category. I mean, if you're like rating like he's like a 99 in this.
Yeah. And like if you think about Maul and his training, he never made it past the apprentice stage.
True.
And so he never got powerful enough to go up against Palpatine effectively. And when Palpatine comes to shut him and Savage down, like,
He does
wipes
it
the
with
floor
ease.
with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, Maul never quite got to his peak that he could have been as a Sith if he stuck with Palpatine, you know?
Oh, could you imagine though if he did?
Yeah. He would be
One of the best.
Yeah.
If not the best. Like,
Yeah.
he probably could have killed Palpatine.
Yeah.
He probably would have found a way to do it. Especially knowing what he knows. Like, he probably could have found Anakin.
It'd be a
He did
very
find
interesting alternate timeline to think about
him not dying in Phantom Menace.
him not dying. And like, I know like the whole like Star Wars plot is about Anakin.
Right.
Like he's the whole reason the story exists in the first place. But like,
Right. But if he.
like, let's pretend that like Maul killed Anakin on Tatooine. Like, I don't know, like something happened and he actually killed the kid.
Yeah, he just runs him over on that scene.
And like head just bobbed off.
Oh.
Or like he just like bests Qui-Gon there in the sand, like not kills him, but just like, I don't know, and then like kills the kid.
Yeah.
Like Maul would have been in Anakin's shoes as becoming his apprentice and becoming like the powerful one and like
Yeah.
the Sith Lord.
I think it would have gone differently, though. I don't think Maul was there to kill Anakin.
No, he had no idea about
No.
Anakin.
That's what I'm saying, like accidentally kills the kid.
Oh.
Not that
Accidentally
he was
runs him over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he tried to.
I still think he knows about Anakin, though.
I don't think so.
What do you mean?
Because once they're leaving Tatooine, doesn't word get to Palpatine that Anakin is on the midichlorian count?
I mean,
Well, the rumor is that Palpatine.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
No.
I think... No, but, like, I still think Maul knows, like, about Anakin. The existence of Anakin.
In that moment?
Yes.
why would he?
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon didn't even know.
Yeah. Unless you subscribe to that theory of Palpatine creating Anakin, which isn't canon.
I think...
It's just a fan theory.
in my head canon, I think...
Here we go.
I think Palpatine accidentally playing with the Force, or Plagueis really, playing with the Force accidentally creates Anakin. So therefore, I think Maul knows about that creation. Now, does he know specifically that it's Anakin in that moment? Maybe not.
I feel like him as the mastermind behind so much would not have revealed that to his apprentice.
Mm-mm. But
Because he did not want any of that to get out. I mean, this was like a decade-long predetermined thing. If going along with your theory.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think he would share that with an apprentice.
Unless he uses that to, like, kill Plagueis.
But going by what you're saying, like the fan theory, not necessarily that Palpatine created him on purpose, but like Plagueis with Palpatine were doing things that unbalanced the Force.
Mhm.
So then the Force created Anakin in Shmi.
Yeah.
He wouldn't know. He still wouldn't know about that.
Yeah.
True.
So I really don't think that he knew, and the only reason that he became interested in him was because he sensed the midichlorian count probably when he met him. But also he was hearing the Jedi saying like, oh, this is the chosen one. And
That's right.
that piqued his interest probably in him.
Later, though.
Yeah, later.
On Coruscant.
Not while on Tatooine.
Yeah. And even with all of that, he probably wouldn't have even mentioned it to Maul.
Yeah.
Until
That's fair.
much later. When he was like, sure. And he's like, okay, so here's the plan.
Yeah, because if he did know that on Tatooine, he wouldn't have attempted to run him over.
Yeah.
Because that would have been Palpatine's.
Fair. Because like my thinking was, if he did know that, he would have tried to kill Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and take Anakin to be his apprentice.
Which,
to then kill Palpatine.
to your theory, like that could have been his plan.
Yeah,
while he was there.
Yeah.
Like, I need this kid. You're not allowed to take him.
Yeah, like if he had overheard Qui-Gon.
That's true.
Because he had
did.
like probe droids like listening in on him. Like he could have overheard him say like, oh, this kid's like really high midichlorians and is really powerful in the Force.
Yeah, because that would have been their, I don't want to say like style, but like, so the Jedi had like pretty strict rules of like ages of bringing into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he was already past that. So that would have been a perfect candidate for like the Sith to bring in.
Yeah.
Like a raw, Force sensitive child.
Yeah.
That's very, very
raw.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, like raw Force abilities. Like has never had any training.
Yeah, just naturally super powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know how we got on this, but
I mean,
well, yeah, I think Vader wins this.
Yeah, I do think that, I mean, obviously not counting like plot reasons, like obviously like Vader would have to win if this ever happened, which we'll get into the Legends comic here soon, but I just think like if Maul doesn't have a reason to be fighting to use all of his rage, I think he's going to be handicapped, because that's kind of, and that goes with the dark side in general, but like
it's his fuel.
That's his fuel of doing anything. Like that's the only reason he was able to live after being cut in half, was because he had the rage fueling him to kill Obi-Wan to get revenge. And
here's my question. I'm going to switch the verses here. If we do Siege of Mandalore,
you're going to say, let's do Maul versus Vader instead of Vader versus Maul.
No, if we do Maul in Siege of Mandalore, and his plan worked out where he was trying to lure Anakin there, if that actually happened and it was Maul versus Anakin, so Clone Wars Anakin versus Clone Wars Maul, who would win that?
I think Anakin would still, because it's the same power, you know?
Different power. Same power from Maul, yeah.
No, I meant with Anakin. Like, yeah, he's not always tapping into the dark side, but sometimes.
The thing with Maul is...
But I think that would come down to if Maul ended up threatening something that Anakin didn't want to lose. That's where Anakin's fuel comes from.
Yeah.
Not Vader's, but Anakin's. So if like he was threatening Ahsoka or Padme or like anybody that he cared about,
or Obi-Wan,
yeah, like anything,
that moment, yeah,
Anakin would have torn Maul to shreds.
Yeah. I just go back to in Revenge of the Sith, where Count Dooku, when they fight, he goes, I forget what he says. It's like, you're not using your aggression or whatever. Then he instantly starts being more aggressive.
Mm.
You remember that?
Say that again.
So Dooku taunts Anakin and says, like, you're not using your aggression.
In Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking
Oh,
of
yeah,
Clone
yeah.
Wars.
And then he just instantly
Yeah.
turns a switch and is like, starts actually fighting
Yeah,
him.
he says you have hate and you have anger, but you don't use them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see on Dooku's face.
It's like, oh, crap.
What have I done?
I think that same thing would happen with Maul, where, like, Maul's obviously already using that, but Anakin doesn't fight with that naturally until someone says something like that.
Oh,
And then
Yeah, or
he
something
still
else,
is aggressive.
or something else triggers it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think anytime we ever see like Anakin fighting or dueling or doing really much of anything in any of the Clone Wars, I think he is fighting with like a 30 to 40% like
oh, yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
And there's a few moments or like a few fights where like you can see he turns it up, and like that's one of them. There's a few scenes in like Clone Wars that he does it too.
Yeah.
Not the movie, like the series.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, he has like 4 more gears after that he can like get up to. And
Which I think could be said for anybody. I mean, you see that with Obi-Wan as well. He just doesn't tap into rage.
yes,
But yeah, Anakin does. Maybe not rage, but the dark side. Anger.
Gets right.
I don't
Well,
think
maybe
rage
not
and
Maul
anger are
rage,
different,
but
yeah.
like
Maul is all rage.
it's
I think
definitely dark side.
I think Anakin's is more emotion, anger, and fear.
Yeah, it's fear of loss.
Yeah, it's always fear of loss.
Yeah. Whereas Maul is more of like a fear of vengeance,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which eventually Anakin does get to
Oh, yeah.
with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Because that whole series and what we know just about Vader is like coming back to hunt down Obi-Wan.
The other thing with Anakin is that he is always jealous that Obi-Wan won against Maul back in the day. And so he always wanted to do that same thing, where if he had that chance, I think he would almost mess it up, just like he does with fighting Obi-Wan. I don't know.
Does he ever say that he's jealous of Obi-Wan?
Maul?
No, Anakin.
Anakin.
For that fight? I mean, Anakin was 9 when that happened.
And didn't
But-
see it.
And,
Well, okay, maybe I'm
Well,
going
yeah.
off of like the Revenge of the Sith book again, because it talks about that. His thoughts about like
him being jealous.
because Obi-Wan and him talk about it, or they say they talk about it a lot, and Anakin thinks about like how he could have done it as well. Like Obi-Wan's not cool for that. Like he could have done it too.
I don't know if I agree with that.
But
I don't know if he, at least in my mind, wouldn't be jealous of Obi-Wan, but there are many times in Revenge of the Sith that he tells people, and I think he tells Obi-Wan this too, but like tells Padme and like C-3PO, I think, that they're, I don't know, like something about him not becoming like a master.
yeah,
Where he feels like slighted, and
Yeah.
I don't think he ever uses the word jealous though.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Jealousy. It's more of like, I don't know.
being treated unfair.
Well, there's that too, but I think that's different.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what like the single word emotion would be.
But if he is jealous, it's not necessarily that Obi-Wan killed Maul, but just that Obi-Wan was the one to kill I hate that I have to do that. A Sith Lord. Like, he was the first one to kill a Sith in, like, hundreds of years.
Yeah. That
they knew of. So maybe, like, I could see him being jealous of that. But
yeah.
I still don't know if I would see him. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like something he would say.
Here's the reason that I even think that Maul versus Anakin like wouldn't be close, just as I don't think like Maul versus Vader would ever be close. Maul has lost multiple fights.
Yeah.
And that's kind of his thing.
Yeah. And Anakin, canon, has really only lost 2.
Yeah.
Like, he lost the first fight with Dooku, and then he lost the fight with Obi-Wan twice.
Well, yeah, I was going to say. So that's 3 times.
So, well, yeah. 2 people, but
yeah.
Three fights.
First fight with Dooku?
He got his arms chopped off.
Yeah, his arm got cut off.
Oh. I was thinking Revenge of the Sith, sorry.
Yeah, no, that was the second fight in which he won.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, Maul just gets beat down so many times.
Yeah. So if you think about all the people that Anakin / Vader have ever fought, except for
those two. Yeah,
whereas unless there's some like minor thing that happens in Clone Wars.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure people have like escaped.
Yeah.
Like
that doesn't count.
Little things.
Like Asajj
like,
has multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Cal Kestis does get away and like.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a cool verses though, because those are like both in like the top 5 of like really good fighters, and the gap between like 1 and I don't know where you probably wouldn't put him like 2, maybe like 4 or 5. So the gap between
definitely
like
top 5,
1 and 4 and 5 is just
yeah.
And so this happened in a Legends comic. I'll bring up some of the things here. So there's a couple things that I don't like about this, but there's a couple things that I do that do make sense. So I'm going to bring up this that shows some of these things. So the premise of this comic is basically there's this dark side cult that resurrects Maul with Sith alchemy. And their reasoning is because they think Vader is tainted by his Jedi upbringing, and they don't think that he deserves or is powerful enough to become a true Sith Lord because of that. So then they resurrect Maul because they think Maul is just going to be naturally more powerful than Vader and deserves to be the apprentice to Palpatine and eventually overthrow him and be like the Dark Lord of the Sith. Which I do like that. That's kind of cool. And I don't know if it says this in the comic, but I think it kind of implies that Vader suspects that Palpatine is the one that orchestrates this to test Vader.
Yeah.
Which I do also like.
I think he does that
multiple
times.
Yeah, in canon.
Zoom just a little bit further to the actual... No, zoom in.
Oh, no, I was going to the more interesting ones, yeah. So yeah, they basically... This is like right before A New Hope. And so Vader gets like a transmission or something like that saying that rebels they have the Death Star plans or something at this planet, and it ends up being a trap. So throughout this whole fight, I think it's interesting that Maul calls Vader, like he refers to him as a Jedi, like the whole time. He like calls him Jedi a lot. You land with grace, Jedi. And this is apparently like a really long battle. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but basically the entire time, like Maul is like handing it to Vader, like destroying him, and basically beats him by the end of it. And the only reason, and it's a volcano planet, which is interesting. The only reason that Vader wins this, his lightsaber was dropped during that, and then Maul's standing over him and about to like either stab him or slice him or whatever. And then Vader takes his lightsaber and stabs himself and stabs Maul through him. So he kills him.
That's cool.
It's cool, but I also don't think that it would have been that close. You know?
I mean,
especially
at this time period?
No.
Like, I'm thinking...
This is like Rogue One time period.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't know. This was part of like my thinking is like, I think the actual like saber combat part, like Maul would be winning.
Yeah. I agree.
Like, and this whole comic, there's a lot of like acrobatics. They're moving a lot, and I think Maul just has like the best advantage in a lot of that stuff. So, like, I like that they kind of show that Vader is kind of like getting his butt handed to him in those areas.
But I think Vader would have used the Force a lot more than that to get the upper hand, and he just doesn't really use it that much.
Yeah.
So then he ultimately does get defeated. Like, he was beat.
Yeah.
On the left side there.
Yeah.
And the only reason he won is because of his cybernetics. Not like, I mean, I guess he could have still stabbed himself if he didn't have cybernetics, but that was the reason why he did that. Which is an advantage and a disadvantage. Like, if his mask gets sliced, then he can't breathe. But on the other hand, he can do something like that. Like, stab through his own stomach to stab his attacker.
He's like, I've been cut up and sliced so much, who cares at this point?
Probably doesn't even have feeling in that area. Oh, he doesn't even have a stomach, does he?
That's what I'm saying.
Why wouldn't he?
I mean, he can't really eat. They probably removed it. Like, he still has a body.
I mean, he might still eat, just not. He probably can't taste.
Yeah, very much so. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But either way, like,
yeah,
if he gets stabbed like that, like, his cybernetics can probably, like, sustain him or whatever. So, it's interesting, and there's like a lot of things that I do like about it. But I don't think it would have been that close.
Yeah.
Like, Vader would have known that he was at a disadvantage with lightsaber combat. So he would have used the Force more, I think.
Yeah.
You are listening to Galaxy Bound Podcast. We do monthly episodes talking about all things Star Wars. We'd greatly appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe or follow us on whatever platform you are watching or listening from. It helps us grow and reach more people. You can follow us on social media on basically every platform out there at Galaxy Bound TV, or check us out at our website at galaxybound.tv for links to them all. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.